Hello and welcome. In today's video, we're going to focus on using the Matriarch stereo filter as a dual sine wave oscillator. To accomplish this, we're going to begin by turning resonance 1 and resonance 2 all the way up, making sure that all the oscillators are turned down in the mixer section, and then sweeping the filter cutoff somewhere around noon. Now, when I press a key, you'll hear the filter generate a tone. You'll also notice that no matter which key I play, the pitch of the tone stays the same. So to get the filter tracking the keyboard, we just need to take this KB tracking knob in the filter section and turn it all the way up. Now we'll be able to hear that the filter moves with the keyboard. So now that we have the filter tracking the keyboard, the next step is tuning the filter to ensure that when I press C on the keyboard, the filter is also playing C. To do this, we're going to use oscillator 1 as a tuning reference and turn it up in the mixer section. Now, when I press C, we'll be able to hear both the oscillator and the filter play at the same time. As you can hear, there are two different notes, so what I'm going to do is sweep the filter cutoff until we reach a unison, where oscillator 1 and the filter are playing the same note. Now I can turn oscillator 1 down. If you have trouble with tuning, another option is to use the VCF1 and VCF2 outputs with a guitar tuner to ensure you're hitting the correct note. Now that we have the filter playing along with the keyboard and in tune, let's look at the spacing knob. The cutoff knob in the filter section is actually controlling the cutoff of both filters at the same time, and the spacing knob allows us to create an offset between filter 1 and filter 2. In the context of using the filter as an oscillator, this will allow us to create an interval between two oscillators. So let's listen to how that sounds. Another interesting aspect to the Matriarch's filter is when we use the stereo low-pass mode. When we adjust the spacing, not only are we adjusting the interval between the two oscillators, but also their position in the stereo field, which can lead to some interesting stereo effects. Another nice thing to do with the spacing knob is just a subtle detune generating a quasi-chorus effect. As you can hear, a subtle detune gives a little bit more body to our sine wave oscillator. Next, let's look at incorporating the modulation section in a few different ways. The first is to achieve vibrato. To do this, I'm going to turn the cutoff amount knob in the modulation section up ever so slightly and push the mod wheel all the way up. Let's listen to how it sounds. As you can hear, we have a vibrato now, the rate of which can be controlled by the modulation rate knob and the depth of which can be controlled by the modulation wheel. Next, let's look at using the modulation section for some audio rate FM effects. For this, what I'm going to do is turn the cutoff amount knob all the way up, push the mod wheel all the way up, and turn the modulation rate until I'm reaching audio rate. Next, I'm going to take a patch cable and I'm going to go from the rear panel out of the KB output into the rate in the modulation section. This will allow me to use the modulation section as an oscillator that also is tracking the keyboard correctly. I want to set it to a sine wave, and now let's listen to how that sounds. As you can hear, we're able to achieve these interesting metallic timbres. And by adjusting the rate knob and the ratio between these two oscillators, we'll be able to hit different sort of FM zones. We can also use the modulation wheel to control the depth of that FM for some more subtle effects. This can be nice for emulating bell tones or xylophones. Lastly, let's look at one last approach to using the filter as an oscillator that's common by using the noise to achieve a pitched noise effect. Because we're using the filter as an oscillator but also have a filter input available, if we turn the noise up in the mixer section, we can achieve these interesting textured, pitched noise sounds. As you can hear, even when not using the oscillators on the Matriarch, there's still plenty of room for sonic exploration to be had.